Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
It's 10 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to another edition of your Good Governance and Public Accountability program on the network service of Radio Nigeria. That is, Have Your Say. And I'll be your guide, Olayemi Daniel. Welcome on board. Perhaps throughout the globe, one of the greatest obsessions on the mind of every health scientist is finding a cure to coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. Already, about 5 million people have been infected with the virus, with 380,000 deaths, while about 1.5 million people have been cured of the disease. In Nigeria, there have been several molecular scientists and virologists who have come forward with claims of finding a cure to the pandemic, while following a request for a local remedy to the disease from the East African nation of Madagascar. The federal government has received a possible solution. But in consonance with global drug safety requirements, all these drugs and claims are subject to tests and verification by the agency saddled with the task of doing so. That is, the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC. But how soon can NAFDAC come to the rescue of the country and even the entire world as they carry out this task? And are there other ideas the organization has for Nigerians on the pandemic and the situation throughout the globe? To speak on these is our guest, the Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. Professor, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Now, you're the chief officer in charge, like the gatekeeper for every drug and food consumed by over 200 million people. What keeps you going? Just in a few words, what keeps you going?
What keeps me going as the Director General of NAFDAC is safeguarding the health of our people. It is first and foremost. I wake up with that. I go to bed with that because the health of our people matters.
Okay, the health of Nigerians matters. Of course, we'll come back to that as the program proceeds. That's just to break the ice.
Thank you.
Now, for Nigerians, you can join the conversation as we're streaming live on www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network, or simply search Radio Nigeria. Once again, www.facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network, or simply search Radio Nigeria. The lines to call are 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. Once again, the two lines are 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. For the last time, 0807 622 6771 and 0705 149 3324. For SMS and WhatsApp only, send to 0705 864 2473. Once again, for SMS and WhatsApp only, send to 0705 864 2473. Please note to turn down the volume of your radio set to avoid a holdback. Make your contributions short and straight to the point to enable other callers contribute and for our guests to respond. Here there are no preferential treatment. We take calls as they come. Be polite, and that will make our program a success. Thank you. Now to you, Professor. A healthy nation begets a healthy people, and indeed NAFDAC is at the center of ensuring this reality. Can you briefly tell Nigerians what duty your agency has in all of this?
Okay. Our mandate is to control the importation, the exportation, the manufacture, the distribution, the sale and use of 7 regulated products, which include food, drugs, medical devices, packaged water, chemicals, beverages, and I think cosmetics.
As well, okay.
Yes. And with this great responsibility, I will start with somebody who wants to register a product.
For instance.
So we start at the Registration and Regulatory Affairs Directorate. Actually, we have 18 directorates scattered all over the country, and a majority of the directorates are in Lagos and Abuja. So the Registration and Regulatory Affairs Directorate receives thousands of applications. We have the Food Directorate, we have the Drug Directorate in terms of registration and regulations and regulatory affairs.
Okay.
As I said, we register thousands every year, locally and also from other countries, from outside the country. So you get all the registration materials, and then the samples come with the submission. It goes to Drug Evaluation and Research Directorate, or it goes to Food Safety and Applied Nutrition Directorate.
Okay, let's stop there. Let's move on to a major issue now.
Yes.
That is in the lips, the mind of everyone throughout the globe, which is the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes.
Now, what is the situation? Does NAFDAC have a solution to this challenge?
NAFDAC facilitates solutions. We don't provide solutions.
Okay, good.
We expedite, we facilitate solutions. Let me just give an example of potential herbal medicine that may work for COVID. Like I mentioned, the application is submitted at the Registration and Regulatory Affairs. Since the pandemic started, we have started expediting the time to approval. Usually it takes us about 90 days for food and 120 days for drugs, medical devices, vaccines, and so many. But we have reduced the approval time to 10 days for food and sanitizers, and we have reduced the approval for herbal medicines to about a month, because herbal medicines are drugs. But because of the sensitivity and the need to find a local content, we have reduced the approval time.
Nigerians might want to know what makes it take that long. Can't it be done within a few days? Is it possible? Well, I'm only asking.
I know. It is
ignorant.
People will think that is that easy. You know, when you submit an application for food or for drug, it may come in a volume.
Yes.
It's not 1 page, 2 pages. It may be 200 pages. It depends on what comes with it.
Okay.
So we have to vet it to make sure that there will not be any compromise of quality.
It usually comes with a brief, like a document.
Yes, we call it dossier.
Oh, dossier, okay.
Yeah, it is almost like a mini book.
Oh, okay. So it
Because
contains research, material,
Exactly.
what has been found out, and so on.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
So it takes a while for it to be reviewed. A preliminary screening will first be done, just to be sure whether this is going to move at all.
Okay.
If it's not going to move at all, meaning there is danger or possibility of poison or something like that, we set it aside.
Okay. Okay.
But if usually there is high possibility to go through, so we first of all do the screening, and then it goes to drug evaluation of food safety and applied nutrition, where further evaluation will be done. After that, it goes to the lab. You know, because we are guided by international standards, we cannot compromise on quality. So we have to do all the due diligence in the laboratory. And the lab is not a place where you just drop your sample and get it in a day. Bear in mind, we have thousands of samples that we go through every year.
Apart from the one that's on ground.
Aside from what's on ground. But because of the COVID, anything that is COVID related, we expedite the approval process. So it goes through the lab, and if the results are favorable for herbal medicines, we give a listed approval, meaning a short time approval, 2 years, that can be renewed, because that is just for safety. Then for efficacy, which means is it going to make this person better or not, that is another step. The applicant or the person that submitted will now do clinical trial. And that takes a lot of funding, a lot of time. If it is favorable, then we can register that product for 5 years, renewable.
Okay, so it's in stages and steps and so on.
It is in stages and steps for herbal medicines, yes.
That's good to know. So many Nigerians have been ignorant. You hear Nigerians say that, look, NAFDAC is too slow, they're just frustrating us. Anyway, that takes us to the next question now, the issue about the Madagascar vaccine, or the Madagascar or the organic solution that they talk about for COVID-19. That has been in the front burner. We understand the president was presented with a sample for the drug, but insisted that it must be certified for use by our experts. And NAFDAC is in the center of this matter. I don't want to say center of a storm, but of this matter. What is the situation with the Madagascar organic solution to COVID-19?
You see, the Madagascar organic solution or preparation to Madagascans, it's a great thing. It is a great thing, and that is what I want for Nigeria. They want to market their product. Of course, they said it works for their people for COVID. We have not. NAFDAC has not received the samples. I've requested, and the Minister of Health is definitely working on sending us samples.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to check the medicine or the herbal medicine and see what is in it. And we see what is in it, and if we first of all do the safety, the clinical trial, that is the next step. It's my own opinion that we should not do that, because we'd rather do that for our own homegrown herbal medicines.
Okay, rather than
spend money to do the COVID organics. If it is safe, like we do for our own product, we can categorize it as approved for a short while. Because the ones that we approve for a short while here, people use them anyway for two years, and the applicant or the submitter renew every two years. But for the COVID organics, I will advise that we don't spend money on the clinical trial, which is very costly.
Okay.
Instead of that, let's spend the money on our own locally grown herbal medicine.
You just mentioned that the clinical trial is expensive.
It is expensive.
What makes it expensive? Many people assume that it's just a matter of getting persons, or sorry, we say guinea pigs in this case now.
That's right.
To test the efficacy of the drug and so on. Where does the issue of cost come in?
It's a very good question. When you want to do clinical trial, you first of all have to find a hospital that has an ethics committee. Ethics committee will look at the protocol, because the essence of clinical trial protocol or approval is to ensure that the subject is protected. The subject or the patient is protected. Therefore, it has to be well designed. So the applicant will get the hospital that will look at the protocol, and then after the hospital has approved the protocol, it is now NAFDAC's turn. We will look at the protocol too and make sure that everything, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and the number of people that will be used for this clinical trial matters. The number of people that will be used for the clinical trial matters. Because if you use 20 people, for example, and 10 people get better from out of the 20, you cannot say statistically that you are successful, because that is 50% of the number. 50% is not statistically significant. So there is what we call power of statistics, meaning you have to use a large number, and when you've now feed it into a model, statistical model, you find out whether it's significant or not. At that point, if it is very significant, the positive outcomes, meaning people getting better, then that product can be approved for 5 years. That is renewable.
Okay, it doesn't mean it's permanent. It's for a period, 5 years.
Yes, because we want to be sure that the product stays safe. We want to be sure that the product is still safe, that there is no compromise over the 5 years, and that it is stable. Anything you subject and put on the shelf for 5 years, it may degrade.
Okay. Now, Professor, we'll come back to some of these aspects.
Thank you.
This time we'll need to go for a short break. But before we do, let's take note of the numbers once again so that Nigerians can be part of the conversation. The numbers to call are 0807 622 6771. 0807 622 6771. The second line is 0705 149 3324. Once again, 0705 149 3324. Our guest today is the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, in person of Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The National Center for Disease Control has informed me that a large proportion of new infections are now occurring in our communities through person-to-person contacts. So we must pay attention to the danger of close contact between person to person. At this point, I will remind all Nigerians to continue to take responsibility for the recommended measures to prevent transmission, including maintaining physical distancing, good personal hygiene, and staying at home.
Hey, Yomala, stop sneezing all over the place. Use your inner elbow for cover when sneezing. And can you please go and wash your hands with soap and water now?
Please leave me alone. Did you see me clean my hands with tissue?
That's not enough. We need to observe proper hygiene. Wash your hands up to your elbows, wipe with a clean towel, and sanitize your hands with a good sanitizer.
But I've washed my hands up to 5 times. And it's not even noon yet. I'm getting tired of it.
No, don't be tired. You must always keep washing your hands and sanitize them. Tidy up your space and room. Always flush toilets after use. Then wash your hands again. Remember, coronavirus is a pandemic that does not recognize whether we are young or old.
Okay. Let me go and wash my hands now and use the new sanitizer Mom just bought.
This message is a public enlightenment campaign from Radio Nigeria.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
If you're just joining us, the program is Have Your Say, coming to you live on the network service of Radio Nigeria. That is the Good Governance and Public Accountability program on the network service of our network. And today we've been speaking with the Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, in person of Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. It's now time for us to hear from Nigerians. Our lines are already buzzing. Let's take our first caller. Good morning. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, and be brief, straight to the point.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, your name, please.
This is Bishop from Sabundawa in Edo State.
Yes, good morning, Bishop. Please go ahead.
I greet of them well. She has spoken very, very intelligently. Now, I think this coronavirus is a deadly disease and it spreads widely. And this cosmic substance that was brought down to us in Nigeria, given 100 words to Mr. President. One would have expected that Mr. President was acted on this very swiftly. We would have expected that by now, NAFDAC must have been given a sample so that they will carry out the necessary work on it. So that if they do feel that it can cure the coronavirus, then they go ahead to give it to the people. Because people are dying almost every second, every minute, every hour. So I think my advice to the federal government, to Mr. President, is that the area is sent that treatment substance to NAFDAC, the better it will be. Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Bishop Isong. Hello, next caller. Hello, your name and your location, please. Hello? Hello, your name and location, please. Can you hear us? Hello, good morning. Okay, while we wait that call, let's talk about some of the... Hello?
Hello.
Okay, yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us who you are, where you're coming from. Go ahead. Hello?
Yeah, I greet you, brother Daniel. Hello?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Hello? Yes, it's I don't know, calling from yours.
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, I heard what the prof said. That is Professor Adeyeye said.
Yes.
I must tell you that when I heard what she said, I took a deep breath. You can't believe it. That means if she says that we should not go ahead with Madagascar organics, and then we should wait until we have our own. For how long are we going to wait? That's a cheering news. And maybe that's why the president did not send it to her. You know, if she has given us the impression that they don't want to work on it, well, there's no point sending it to them. Then again, is it true that when people make their findings, research and all that, that when they want to now register it, that it costs so much money? Because during the presidential briefing, a journalist asked that question and said, even gave an amount, said it's about 20 million. Is it true? It is that much. That's enough to even discourage people. Okay. So I want you to clarify us, madam. In fact, I'd love to, honestly speaking, it's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's a disaster. Let's not give up on Nigeria.
All right, thank you. I think she'll react when we get a few more calls. Or would you prefer to react immediately? It seems to be a matter that you take it quite seriously.
Actually, what the caller's question is actually very germane. She was asking why we will not do the clinical trial. The clinical trial may take about 6 months or 1 year.
6 months?
It depends, yes. Okay. Because it's not something we do overnight. But the content of the Madagascar COVID organics, we found out that some of our own products, herbal medicines, have similar content. But 3 months ago, we didn't think of COVID. For example, it has Artemisia. Artemisia is grown in Jos.
Okay.
And some people already have herbal medicines that have Artemisia. It is not only one herbal plant that it has. But we are working as we speak to get our own also meaning local content, locally made herbal medicines, to go to expedite the process so that we can get it approved for safety first and then push it quickly to clinical trial. So it is not like we don't want to work on the COVID organics
from Madagascar.
From Madagascar, but we're going to do the safety test. We're going to check what is in it. For example, we can start using it after the first stage because we have thousands of products in our herbal medicine database that people use every day.
Already?
Already, but they are listed, the short-term approval. And the same thing we want to do for the COVID organics, because clinical trial is not something you do overnight. Instead of spending the money for the Madagascar COVID organics, we will spend the money on our own local medicinal products that we are looking at as we speak in NAFDAC.
Okay, let's take more calls now.
And then money to register is not 20 million. It's about 135,000 naira.
Okay.
You know, whoever says it's up to 1 million, that person is duping the applicant. We have sharks. I will call them sharks.
Okay.
That they call themselves consultants.
Oh, I see.
That pillage on our people and say that they're going to help the person to register.
Speedy registration.
But they never see the end of it. They get the money and they still don't get the product registered.
Okay.
The people should go to our website, nafdac.gov.ng. On the right-hand side of the homepage, you will see tariff. You will see tariff, you will click it. It will open up to a PDF document, and you can go through and search for registration or herbal medicine registration fee. It is all there.
Okay. Let's hear from Nigerians. Hello. Hello, tell us your name and your location.
Yeah,
please.
Daniel, this is the radio senator, Mr. Andrew Ajayi.
Yes, good morning, Senator.
Yeah, good morning, Madam Professor Navdak.
Thank you, good morning.
Well done, you have spoken well, and I'm liking the passion in you.
Thank you, sir.
As a Nigerian who is also passionate about the development of this country, I want to say it is rather sad that as a people since 1960 till today, we refuse to invest in science and technological research that could get us out of strategic problems that we may find ourselves. Because as human beings that are living in the world, problems could come naturally. Some other problems could be created by some other people, like the way coronavirus is created. Those people who created coronavirus, now believe you me sincerely, they have a solution to it. Sell their equipment and gadgets here and there, such as the ones I have been seeing on YouTube, even for children to go to classroom and what have you in their country. So they are creating problems for us in Africa. But be that as it may, I want to use this opportunity to say that all those in NAFDAC, all the people who have studied science-related courses in Nigeria, please do not just study those sciences for your own selfish interest and your family survival. As you have studied those things, please begin to engage in research that is proactive, looking into the future of whatever could be happening, and let us also solve all these things by ourselves. And again, this attitude that we always think that we are inferior and the white or Asians are superior to us, that we must always wait for them to bring in their solution as against our own. We perpetually keep Nigerians and Africans to as subservient people to the Asians and Americans. So for me, anytime a Nigerian man or woman or a black man, as long as the person is a black man, saying that, look, I can do this. Hey, look, I am here. There is no need spending this money somewhere else. Please let us encourage the people, because over the years, governments in Nigeria, they believe so much
right, Senator, please make your point.
as against all of us. That is what I want to say as far as this matter is concerned. Let us invest in research in this country so that it is well with our nation.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrew Ajayi. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Paul Uli. I am calling from Abeokuta.
Okay. Paul Uli.
Paul Uli.
Okay.
I am calling from Abeokuta, Ogun State.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I really appreciate NAFDAC because I am I have 2 NAFDAC numbers on 2 of my products, and I congratulate them. They are the best in Africa because of the wonderful lab they have in Lagos, in Yaba. It is world rated. My question or my advice is just that I started presenting my products to the Federal Minister of Health on the 5th of February.
Are they herbal? Are they medicinal? Are they herbal medicinal products?
Yes, they are herbal medicinal products.
Okay, go ahead, please.
One product actually that I have for COVID-19, for the cure of COVID-19, I took a letter and the samples to Abuja. They collected the letter, stamped it, and they refused to take the samples, and they never reverted to me. Why I did it is because of lack of funds. So, since the federal government has been giving so much money for this COVID-19 thing, and will concentrate on only palliatives and lockdown, this is not the solution. Instead of going to Madagascar to try anything at all, I think they should call some of us that have this solution and fund us. I'm going to present my new product to NAFDA by next week by the special grace of God, because I'm waiting for some documentations.
Okay.
But what we need is for them to sponsor it. It's even an economic way of getting economic advantage.
Okay, that's sponsored from...
It's dilly-dally.
Okay.
So they should help us and finance us.
All right, thank
so
you.
They should for research, bring us together and check what we have, put it through the news, so that it can benefit Nigerians instead of us allowing people to die.
Okay.
We thank God that we are not having it as much as Brazil and America, but we should speed up in the process.
Right.
Help those of us that have solutions.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Oni. Professor, you would like to respond to that?
Yes, Mr. Oni has a good point. A country that doesn't invest in science is an insecure country. Whether it is food security, drug security, ammunition, or military security, a country must invest in science. We have not done that. And COVID is slapping us on the face that wake up, Nigeria. Wake up from your sleep. Do not depend on other countries to meet all your needs. That doesn't mean we will not import something. But we shouldn't be importing everything. We should not. We should look internally and make use of what God has given us. God has given us abundantly, but we have been wasting it. So, the investment in science is already happening. The government is responding. The government has realized that the health sector, the pharmaceutical industry, the university science enterprise, all these have been neglected. And the government is now trying to energize these sectors. As I'm speaking, I do advocate or go between pharmaceutical industry and the government to see how we're going to wake up our industry. The same thing with this herbal medicine product. The government is ready to fund any credible potential herbal medicine. So as we speak, we are working on that and negotiating so that we would appreciate our own. We don't appreciate what we have in Nigeria. We don't, unless it is coming from outside the country. Unless somebody tells us what to do.
Okay,
we don't do.
All right, let's hear a little more from Nigerians who want to be part of the conversation. Hello, good morning. Tell us who you are and your location. Hello? Hello, are you there?
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Your name and location, please. Huh? Obina. Oh, go ahead. Where are you Hello, we can't hear you. It seems to be muffled. We can't hear you. Hello, okay. Hello, are you still there? Obina. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Dr. Mohamed.
Okay, please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. The regulatory agencies should rise up to their responsibilities because a lot of quacks and fake drugs have infiltrated our society. Because of the hardship and harshful economic situations, people are cutting corners. They should look into all these supplements that flood our country and flush those that are not suitable for our health. We need to know where all these challenges are coming from So let's be cautious. That people are patronizing them or anything that comes shows the level of poverty in this country. Things are really hard, that people can't afford money to go for a medical checkup. Life is so sacred and precious to be toyed with. Finally, NAFDAC should flush and arrest quacks and punish those that go contrary to the rules to serve as deterrent to others and continue to educate the public on the need to have a drug-free society.
Right.
Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Olebara. Hello? After this call, then you can respond. Hello, good morning. Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning, Radio Nigeria.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Desmond, calling you from Ilugbe, Abuja.
Desmond what?
I just want to greet my mommy there, the professor. Mom, well done. I have nothing to contribute concerning the topic talking about. I only call to commend you because you started good work. You are beginning to put Nigerian first. Continue with good work you started. I listened to you when you were in Human Rights Radio. These are the few people in rights offices. Continue the good work, Mommy. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. She can hear you loud and clear. Hello? Tell us who you are and your location. Hello? Okay, let's take a few. Hello?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Yes, please make it very quick.
I am Mr. Ola Kilani from Abeokuta, Ogun State.
Ola Kilani, go ahead, please.
You see, I am saying that since the federal government and Nigerian scientists are foot dragging on the issue of finding solutions to COVID-19, don't you think if we come across this Madagascar drug, can't we start to use it instead of allowing our people to die? That is number one. Number two, honestly speaking, does NAFDAC have the capability to test the efficacy of Madagascar drug for prevention and treatment? These are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay, that's if they have the capability. Let's quickly take messages now.
Yes.
Or you can respond in just a minute. Let's take messages now, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Now to our social media platforms, we have Mustafa from Abuja says, I would like to massively appreciate the presidency, most especially the vice president, Professor Yemi Osibajo, and also the DG of NAFDAC, who gave hope and make life easy for us, the business owners, by slashing the products registration fees to a mouth-watering 80% discount. Will the discount take effect beyond COVID-19 pandemic? The professor will respond to that later. Nicholas is watching live from Apo, Abuja. He says, good morning, my presenter. To your distinguished guest from NAFDAC, the recent pronouncements by the Vice President as regards their MSMEs when he contributed on the program hosted by NAFDAC actually shows that the federal government is focused on the sector of the economy, on that sector rather. What I'd like clarification on is what exactly are the specific interventions designed for this COVID time, as the agency has always participated in the MSME clinics organized by the Office of the Vice President that has been to over 25 states of the country. I'm sure you're noting some of these issues so that you can also respond. Also, Francis Inaman is watching live from Amagunze in Enugu State. Good morning, my guest in the studio. I'm appealing to NAFDAC officials to ensure that their offices are being extended to every local government across the country for effective and efficient service delivery. Additionally, from Lagos says, good morning, madam. Are we not deeply scientifically inclined that none of the Africans or Nigerian scientists among UNWHO COVID-19 drugs remedies? I hope I understand what he meant. I think he meant that if we have Nigerians working as part of the UNWHO officials and so on. Good morning, this is Bimbo from Lugbe. I would like to appreciate the DG of NAFDAC for the palliatives given to MSMEs. My question is, will small business owners renewing their businesses have access to the 80% discount rate, or is it solely for startups? Okay, so okay. There are so many more, but let's just, okay. If not, our time will run out.
Yeah, that's right. The first caller, at least in this series, mentioned fake drugs. And that is so well placed. That question is so well placed. Our core mandate is to safeguard the health of the people, of our own people. And NAFDAC goes after merchants of death, the fakers of drug, every day. Last week, we were in the East, shutting down and evacuating a fake drug facility. And we usually will seize the drugs and destroy them. Okay. Last year, we destroyed over 1.3 trillion worth of drugs that are fake or counterfeit. So this is an ongoing battle. It is not a sprint, it is a marathon. Across Africa, 10% of the drugs are fake.
Very quickly, Professor, what happens to those who make these drugs? Are they usually arrested and prosecuted? Are they taken up by the law?
Yes.
Okay.
We do a lot of prosecutions, but I wish that the penalty is stiffer.
Oh, okay.
Let me give you an example. Somebody was caught with tramadol, and they gave the person, they fined the person 250,000 naira or 5 years imprisonment. That person will go to his ATM and get 250,000 naira and walk away. So we are now working with our judiciary to give stiffer penalty. If the penalty doesn't deter, if it doesn't hurt, they will continue to do it. But we do prosecutions almost on a daily basis. We arrest and then go through the courts, the court system. For tramadol, we have decreased the influx of tramadol
into the country. Okay.
First, Nigeria was not at the ports for 7 years.
Yes, NAFDAC.
NAFDAC was not at the ports for 7 years, from 2011 to 2018.
Wow.
May 16, because it's a big date for me. Because when I joined NAFDAC, and I was asking my first month, I said, the ports, and they said, Madam, we are not at the ports. I said, what? You are not at the ports? And we're supposed to control importation? Those 7 years created cabals. Created cabals that we are trying to dismantle, and we will dismantle them. So the problems we created for 7 years cannot be overturned in 1 year, even in 2 years. But it's a battle that we are involved with every day. Our own staff face dangers, kidnapping, threats, death threats, because of the type of work we do. But we will continue to do it. Mr. Kilani talked about how come that we are not using the Madagascar COVID organics now
without passing
without passing through. Actually, if somebody is an isolation center, that person is being treated as we speak with chloroquine, with hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and people are getting better. So it's not like we just left people to die. But if a natural product can do something similar, why not?
Or even better.
Or even better.
If possible.
Why not? That's why we are also looking at our herbal medicines. After all, chloroquine is anti-malaria. And we have dongoyaro or neem that may work as chloroquine. We don't know yet. This all needs clinical trial treatment, and that's what they are doing. Lagos State has already started the clinical trial treatment for chloroquine. Okay. And then there's what is called the Solidarity Trial.
Which one is that?
Solidarity Trial is like a network of clinical trials in countries and across countries all over the world. And many countries use chloroquine as clinical trial treatment drugs, and people will gather the data together. That is what I mentioned about power, statistical power, to give a high confidence that the drug really works.
Okay.
So we are doing that. So people are not dying because they don't have medicine to use. People are placed on medicines and they are getting better in the different hospitals.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, people are getting better in the different hospitals, but we want to also look internally and focus on local content, just in case that will be as effective as the COVID organics from Madagascar.
Okay, let's take another set of calls. The MSMEs palliatives.
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Just hold on. Okay. Let's take the call very quickly. Hello. Yes, please.
Yes, madam. Daniel, it's me, the radio senator, Mr. Andrew Ajayi again.
Where are you calling from? Please, very quickly.
Question for me. I'm calling. Take this question from me, madam.
Yes, please.
What are you going to do as NAFDAC in trying to regulate the prices of drugs in the shelf? Because it looks as if the people who own pharmaceutical stores, they are just lords, criminals generalists onto themselves. Any small medicine, they will just be writing. If ordinary malaria medicine, they just write 1,000 to 1,000 because
All right, Senator Andrew. Okay. Your line seems to be breaking, but I think we've gotten the gist of what you were saying. Just go ahead, Professor.
I will start with these drug prices and then move back to the MSMEs. NAFDAC unfortunately cannot control drug prices. That is Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Okay.
We cannot control drug prices, but I just want to make a point because we import everything. At the beginning of COVID pandemic, India, that was always supplying us raw materials, stopped supplying us raw materials because they want to preserve it for their own people. Yeah. And I don't blame them. So the prices of those materials jumped almost like 1,000, 2,000%.
Wow.
So that may be part of why the cost of drugs went up recently. But if the caller is talking generally, NAFDAC cannot control the prices of drug. It's Ministry of Trade that can look into that.
Okay.
A caller mentioned MSMEs, palliatives. We know that the MSMEs move our economy, and that is why NAFDAC set up the palliatives. 80% reduction. So if you were paying 100 naira before, you will now pay 20 naira. I'm just giving that as an example of 80% deduction. The first 200 applicants, we get 0 tariff. So our lines have been jammed, our e-registration have been jammed because people want to the first 200. Okay. But if they cannot meet the first 200, or they are not part of the first 200, the 80% is good enough. And then those who have not been renewing their licenses or their permits that we gave them, they're supposed to have heavy fines for not renewing. So we are waiving those heavy fines except for the last unrenewed license that they will pay for. So that will be for 3 months.
Okay.
But the palliatives, the 80% will be for 6 months. So I believe that will go a long way. And another caller mentioned a very, very important issue. It is NAFDAC being represented at the different local governments.
Yes, true.
We need our staff. We need more staff to do that. We have 776 or something local governments.
74.
Yes, 74. Local, yes, local government. So we need more staff, but what we are planning to do is COVID that has come in between now, is to use NYSC corpus at the different local governments. We have already initiated an MOU with NYSC, and once that is signed, we will start using NYSC first. We have need for staff for other things, but for this local government, we start using NYSC, and we have already built the architecture in terms of how it's going to work. And then there was something not for only for. Oh, okay. There was a question about the palliatives, whether it is also applicable for renewals. No, it is only for startups, for those who are just registering for the first time.
Okay, for new businesses. Okay, let's take a few more calls. Then we'll take more messages from our social media platforms. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and location.
Yes, it's Daniel. I'm calling from Jos.
Daniel from Jos.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, and I also greet our guest here.
Thank you.
Good morning. Please, I don't know, my own concern issue of our health, especially in Nigeria, is worrying me, especially our tertiary hospitals. We usually have insufficient drugs because people, especially when our patients were in the hospital, we do find it very difficult to get some medicine, and especially this lockdown period, it's not everybody that is asked to open the pharmacy.
Okay.
So the doctors do ask the patient especially to go and look for the medicine. So especially like, for example, like this jute fly, there are a lot of medicine that you can't find it in the hospital. So I go to ask some doctors that why is it that a big place like this, that other countries are depending on it, not to talk of Nigeria alone. And we cannot find some drugs, some common drugs. It's like we have to go out when it is night especially. So I think it's quite unfortunate. I'm calling on the Ministry of Protrack to please look into this for us. I think this will help us a lot.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning once more.
All right,
Thank you.
Joss thank you, Daniel from Jos, for getting through to us. Hello, do we have, let's see if we have one or two more, then we take messages. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please.
I thought you were not going to pick my call. Good morning, Professor in the house.
Thank you.
My name is Odaze. I'm reaching you from Ila, Delta State. Madam,
Yes.
I think, Madam Prof, we should hear some more from you.
Okay.
The last time I heard from you was on the network program, and I was highly impressed. And then you've thrown more light. We should hear more from you, please. It is absolutely important.
All right.
Thank you.
Because you have passion.
Thank you.
Passion for our beautiful country and passion for your job.
Thank you.
But then there are some habits we have to put away. Habit of secrecy, complex, either superiority complex or inferiority complex, perverted sense of value, corruption, lack of sense of appreciation, parochialism. We must stop being reactionary in this country. We have to be more. Give those who know how to do it good opportunity to do it. If Our Lady had been on air, most of us would have gotten a clearer insight of this corona issue. She's not the only one. There was one the other day. The same thing happened. Please, those in charge of this corona thing, please, Doctor or Minister of Health, there are some important people we need to hear more from. Right. Madam, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Keep on doing the good job. A Nigerian can do anything he puts his mind to do.
Right. Yeah.
God will bless our beautiful country.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Yes, big amen to that from Ada Odaze, Elijah to State. Oh, thank you for calling. Let's see if we can take messages from our social media platform now. Then we'll get final words and reactions from our guest. We have, there is no name on this message, but it says, good morning, my distinguished guests in the studio. Our various research institutes should be well equipped, well funded, and qualified staffed. If a small country like Madagascar could come with a vaccine to tackle COVID-19 pandemic, I wonder why the giant of Africa like Nigeria is yet to come out with any meaningful discovery. Again, I am appealing to the federal and state governments to ensure that every rural community across the country should be provided with at least one health center for proper and better medical attention to the rural people. Tumishe from Abuja says, I think this is a very good move by the federal government. The corona pandemic is really affecting nation's economy and will surely affect MSMEs. So giving supporting MSMEs with 80% discount is applaudable, but can this palliative please be extended past or beyond the 6 months? We like to hear reaction from the DG. DG from Oshogbo, Oshun says, how long will Nigeria and Africa by extension have to always depend on WHO's approval before certifying for usage of traditional medicines practitioners' products that have locally proven potent in treating certain diseases? Isn't that imperialism? That is now going into international politics on the matter. That's another dimension. But I'm sure Professor Madam DG will want to respond to some of those issues.
Daniel from Jos mentioned lack of drugs or insufficient drugs rather in tertiary hospitals. That is sad, and it's a reflection. It is a reflection of the drug insecurity in this country. NAFDAC, about 2 years ago, we started a program called Quality Management System, where we put the customer first. We are customer focused, agency minded, and the third thing is country dedicated. If we love this country, we will support how the industry will be well placed. We will support the pharmaceutical industry, the healthcare sectors, how the hospitals will be well equipped. UCH, I did my internship and worked for a few years in UCH before moving to Ogbomoso. And the sheikhs from Saudi Arabia used to come to UCH.
Oh.
Yes.
As far back as when is this?
late 60s,
okay.
Early 70s.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
Yes, but UCH is now a caricature of what it used to be. What is wrong with us? We've got to love this country. If you love this country, you will not embezzle money. If you love this country, you will be dedicated to your job. If you love this country, you will be customer focused. Because all this contributes to deficiency in the system. So the lack of, the insufficient drugs, unfortunately, it was there when I was there practicing almost 50 years ago. And it's still there. It's worse now. It's worse now, but it is because we neglected our industry. But the federal government is supporting the pharmaceutical industry now, and we will have more drugs that we need. The federal government will patronize local manufacturers more. The Ministry of Trade and Industry is actually very, very big on this. They are working now with the pharmaceutical industry to see how they can strengthen them. About awareness, yes, we need more awareness. We are doing it. We do NAFDAC and Your Health every week, but we will even continue to do better. Habits, somebody mentioned habits about secrecy. That is part of our problem with traditional herbal medicines. We don't want to share what we know, because we feel that somebody will steal our idea, but it's a good fear, because I've heard of stories where somebody stole another person's idea. But that is where legal documents come in.
Okay.
What we are doing now in NAFDAC is to bring the researchers and the practitioners together. We've had 3 meetings. We started March of last year. So to bring the researchers and the practitioners together so that they can have more trust.
Okay. Professor, you give us a final general advice to Nigerians. But before that, let's just take last messages very quickly in 30 seconds. Yahya Wadai says, good morning. My greeting and appreciation to NAFDAC DG for taking a bold step about giving attention to our local herbal medicine. It is commendable. OG Amicable says, we know the government are finding the best solution for the virus, but they should make it snappy because we are pleading. Mr. John Mania says, Nigerian government is not serious as all on finding solution to this coronavirus cure. And I understand that the drug will not be available this year, be that because the DG, she's saying clinical trial will take 1 year or 6 months. And I understand that Nigerians don't want to be used Madagascar cure because it's coming from Africa. So just a final message in about 30 seconds to Nigerians. This is all representing what
I applaud Madagascar for finding solutions for the COVID. We have solutions. We have possible solutions for COVID. There is something in Yoruba language that what you are going to Sokoto to look for is in your Sokoto. It's in your pocket. So that is what we are trying to do now. And the federal government is supporting this effort. We have to recognize that the federal government is supporting that effort, and we will continue to do our job to expedite realizing our herbal medicine products for COVID.
Those were the
Thank you.
words of the Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, Professor Mojishola Adeyeye. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you'll join us next time when we call you, because there's so much to still talk about.
Thank you, anytime.
Yes, at this time, I wish to thank the production crew in person of the news producers, Conrad Labe and Hassan Hussein, online editors Timothy Bamidele, ICT Israel Tiokaha, studio manager was Prince Afonia Ugweze, engineer Hassan Usman, photographer Sadiq Saromi, cameras were handled by Fuluwa Oluyede and Chinedu Mmegwa, facilitator was Oluwada Milolaoni, producer Oledo Mbiwe, and of course the executive producer Sani Suleiman. Special thanks to the DJ of FRCN, Mansur Liman, for giving us this platform. Join us next week for another edition of Have Your Say. I am Olayemi Daniel saying stay safe, and COVID-19 is a respecter of no man. Goodbye. Have a pleasant day.
1 minute.